What's up, everybody, and welcome to yet another week in rendition of Apex After Hours. This one might just be the best one we've had yet. Look, all these discussions have been amazing, but gosh, we have not had an ALGS Pro League like today. The regional finals in North America and around the globe certainly did not disappoint. In the end, Wildcard and Meat Lovers fall just under. Complexity, Luminosity both make it in. We will be seeing Monsoon alongside NRG, TSM, Glitch, and so many more at LAN. Look, there's a lot to talk about. You already know I can't do it myself. Very excited to welcome our special guests, of course, Snip3down, my co-host, alongside two absolute freaking legends. I know y'all want to hear directly from them. So let's go ahead and bring them right in. It's Hiswattson and Gild Hiswattson, who just had his Jordan performance. The man can barely talk. So, of course, I'm going to start with him. Gild, how you feeling, man?
Feeling great about Quan, feeling pretty terrible as an individual right now, I'm not gonna lie.
I'd say you just had to do this, man. Literally, like, you could barely talk. It seems like you woke up feeling bad today. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I felt kind of under the weather for like the past 3 days. And then I woke up today and I just felt like absolute ass. I was like, bro, of all days, like, why?
Insane, man. Well, hey, we will try to keep the questions coming your way at a minimum, but if you get passionate about something, something tells me you'll find the voice for it. We're also joined alongside Watson. Watson, we had a chance to do a one-on-one interview the other day. Everyone loved it, so you already know I had to invite you back for one more, man. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you guys didn't have the day you were looking for, but you're still here, which is awesome. Just jump right in, man. What went wrong with your guys' performance today, and how you doing?
I'm doing good. Well, not true, actually. Not doing good today. Not doing good. Feel like, I don't know. I just had one of those days where I just was not in it. I don't know. I did not go into the games like super amped, did not have a lot of energy, and then just that's how we played. Just sucked. Mostly my fault. I feel like days where we do good, I don't know. Actually, I feel like every time we do bad, it's my fault. I feel like I just troll. I feel like they always do good. They show up, and some days I just show up and I suck and we lose. I don't know. That was definitely one of those days, but.
Interesting. Yeah. I want to dig into that. I really want to dig into that because you did the same thing when we talked the other day. You took blame for the fact that y'all didn't qualify for LAN. So we're going to dig into that, but I also got to check in with Rona. Rona, you've been competing for a long time. You've had good days. You've had bad days. How are you feeling about today and how are you feeling in general?
Honestly, we got 2 wins, so I'm happy to know that we can close out games, but we also had 2 0-point games and a 1-point game. So there's a lot to be made up for on that scoreboard. And I mean, that just kind of goes back to the day where, our placings throughout all the Pro League were great. We had 1 18th, and then we got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 5th. And then I think we had 1 11th in there. But overall, I feel like we're one of the most consistent teams. I think that we get lazy. Our comms get lazy. We let things kind of slip past us. Other teams take advantage of it, and it costs us the games. Like, all the games where we had 0 points in 1-point games were our fault. That had nothing to do with us losing a team fight. It was just bad comms, us not, being prioing enough on the map, or I guess having enough. I don't even know if intensity is the right word, but I think there's a long break going into this next LAN, so there's a lot for us to iron out, and I'm proud of where we're at for being a new team. So nothing but things to look forward to.
I love it. Well, hey, welcome everybody to Apex After Hours. You'll see the topic card right below. We try to make this as well produced as possible to be the best possible post ALGS show that you can imagine. So thanks so much everyone for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the conversation already at home. But let's jump right into the discussion here. ALGS, state of ALGS, and really ALGS post-game discussion as a result of the regional final. What a day it was. Let's start with the macro level and kind of the biggest storylines here. I think we're all excited for Monsoon to be back at LAN. Complexity, Luminosity both make it in. You guys think they deserve to be there?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody who showed up today deserves to be there for sure. I'm excited to see Mon. I love that dude. He's hilarious.
Yeah, Mon is definitely a good time. I'm glad he's gone.
I think if there's any single team that people, or player that people were rooting for to qualify that was on the bubble, it was probably Monsoon. I think they've been right there at the edge consistently throughout these last Pro Leagues. And, they had him on the caster's desk last time right next to you, John. And, whenever you see him on the stage, he's always passionate, bringing the good vibes. And I think a lot of people are going to be backing that Complexity squad at this LAN.
I love it. Yeah, we're going to jump in and talk a little bit more about Complexity and Monsoon as one of our topics here in a bit. But kind of macro discussion all up, it's really interesting, right? Gild, since you said something I want to double click into. Anyone that showed up today deserves to be there. You guys, obviously, this will also be its own discussion point. You guys were in 12th place. If going into this regional final, you would not have qualified. So let's talk about that discussion. Anyone that just showed up today deserves to be there. Do you think that means teams like Meat Lovers and Wildcard didn't deserve to be there? Did they show their true colors? Just, again, throwing it right out there.
I mean, honestly, I just think that this Pro League split is probably most competitive one that we've had so far. Like, this was a really hard Pro League split, and like everything was so close. Like going into this regionals, it's just just hard. Some teams are gonna show up and some aren't. Yeah, this has been a really difficult Pro League split for sure.
I feel bad for meat lovers, honestly. Like with Tech dealing with the team drama, losing their teammate last second. I mean, Luxford's a great pickup. You're not really. I mean, of all people to pick up, I mean, he was one of the best options that they could have had. But it definitely sucks because they were doing so well throughout Pro League, and I mean, DZ won today with Zainu, overall kill leader. But I feel for the guy. He really does put a lot into this game, so it's a tough pill to swallow because they were right on that edge. They would have. I wonder who would have qualified between Meat Lovers and Wildcard if NA was given that 12th land spot.
I mean, I feel like that shouldn't even be allowed. Maybe that's a hot take, but I think the roster deadline needs to be like way earlier in the split because that happened
like the halfway point.
Yeah, probably like the halfway point. I think
I don't disagree with that.
So many teams just, I mean, if you're like a super good player, like maybe say, for example, you're the only good player in your team, or for example, like if you're not going to qualify for LAN, someone will just pick you up and then you're just gone. Like you just abandon your team halfway through and then what are they supposed to do? And like Tech has been one of the people getting rolled the hardest by that, where someone just like, not saying Tech's not what I'm saying, but like he's gotten rolled really hard by that for sure.
Didn't you do that?
Even in my case, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to say. Even in my case, I mean, it was literally 3 days before LCQ, and he was gone. Like, I mean, that should not be allowed. The roster deadline should be like first couple weeks of the split.
And he's saying that even though he was the benefactor of that late roster deadline because he joined Furia 4 days before LCQ and then qualified with them. So that's something I respect the empathy here. You guys agree with that? I mean, Tech obviously has been the one that's gotten the most rolled from it.
Yeah,
I just feel for the guy. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, go.
I honestly think it's like a lot of it is on Sharky too. Like he quit on his team in the middle of the Pro League split and said he isn't going to play anymore. Like, what are they supposed to do? That's kind of rough.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
You can't be quitting on your team mid Pro League. Like it's something you're committed to, in my opinion.
Is that what happened? That's actually what happened. I thought Sharky, maybe it was mutual. I thought maybe he wasn't performing. It was just him quitting.
No, it was him not wanting to play.
I think he just got bored. That's true. I actually haven't heard anybody bring that up, but that's a good point. Actually, he kind of just left in the middle of the split, but. Obviously, it was mutual. Everyone went through with it. So, I
think there's situations where it's okay. I mean, in that situation where a teammate just quits, or like if it's an emergency, I mean, you have to be able to pick up a player and get a sub. But then, I mean, I don't necessarily like we're just talking about. I don't agree with Rambo having to get replaced off that roster a day before the last week going into regionals. That seems like that was way too late for a change to be made. Especially with, I mean, that whole situation is pretty wild. Just in general with the back and forth that they were going through. And in the end, it ends up being meat lovers getting screwed, which, it just all around sucks. But I mean, I think, we have some of the best teams going to this LAN anyway. So no matter what, the quality is going to be there.
Yeah, quality will certainly be there. We can't deny that. But I want to double click into that discussion because it's a big one. We'd be remiss not to. I think there's two kind of macro topics there. One, Tech gets kind of screwed. Meat lovers get screwed. Obviously, they're one of the only unsigned teams. Eric, you know this better than anybody. I'm sure you guys all know. There's no poaching clauses in every single one of your contracts, which means that if someone approaches your team, you have to then notify and alert. They didn't have buyout clauses because they were not signed. So there was literally nothing keeping Zainu on Meat Lovers with Tech. And what quite literally happened is they got taken the day before. Snip3down made an opinion, though. And the second big topic is obviously Rambo. What happened to Rambo? So Tech obviously gets screwed. Rambo gets screwed out of LAN. He's not going to be going to LAN anymore. Do you guys think it's all fair and game in war, in the love of war, or do you think it's all business, or do you think that Snip3down made a take and saying that Rambo got screwed? Do you think he thinks it's BS? Do you guys agree, or do you think it's just business?
I don't know. I think for sure one of the terrible things about the roster swapping is it makes it hard. Like it makes it good for like the player, like a good player obviously to rise up, but like as for like teams to rise up and like make a name for themselves, it's really hard because if one person's just like popping off or the team, like people just get poached and split up and get basically bought out. I mean, they just gave him a contract, and why would Zainu say no to that? There would not be many people that would not take that deal. I mean, that is huge for them. Yeah. And that's going to keep happening over and over again. Like kill leader, they need a player. They just give him they didn't even buy him out. They just said, here's a contract. It wasn't like they had to pay for him or, any more than buying him out. So
I don't even think it's BS, because if it's within the rules, then you just abuse the rule system. I mean, that's if it's there and there's some way for you to get ahead. I mean, at the end of the day, like you're looking out for your team. I'm not looking out for meat lovers. If I'm DZ, I'm not looking out for any other player or individual besides my team. And if that's what's in the rule book, then you abuse the rule book. I mean, we see it in every single professional sport. You abuse the basketball rules, you abuse football rules, whatever it can be to give your team the advantage, and that's just what so happened to be.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking anybody, but I don't know if that's just the healthiest system to have, like for the game itself. But obviously, no individual, I wouldn't, or team, like not their fault. Obviously, they're making the best decision they can, but should that even be
Follow
a
the
rule?
rules.
Is like, yeah.
Oh, actually, Shuby said no, and they did not qualify for this LAN. Shuby did say no, and they were signed a wild card. I don't know what that deal or what that situation was, but that right there, I mean, that just that goes what you were saying on Fallout of just maybe if he was signed a wild card, I'm sure he had to get a deal with a contract buyout, deal with all this other stuff, and so they just go straight to meat lovers, say, well, Zainu's unsigned, let's just drag him, and it's almost like you have to take that. So I don't really know what the whole Shuby situation was. I don't know if there's any info there, but I mean, that's an interesting concept right there alone.
Gild, you know all these kids? They're like you, but a year later. You were in their shoes a year ago. You were the young kid that got picked up by Liquid. And what's your take on all this, man? Because you're right. Yeah, I don't know if you know more info than we do, more intel. Shuby said no. He stayed loyal to his boys, or maybe it was a contract thing. Zainu said yes. No one can blame him. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think that the probably the easiest route was just going with somebody unsigned because orgs. I mean, you can't blame like people like Zainu at all. Like they have a guaranteed spot at LAN. They're like 16, 17. Agreed. And he's playing with a team that's won 2 LANs already. Like, who is going to say no to that in their right mind? I mean, I think the Shuby situation, I think he probably, I think Wildcard probably stepped in on that one, if I'm being completely honest with you. Org buyouts like can usually take like some time, and Easy didn't really have that luxury. So I think they just went with Zainu because he was unsigned and they could just pick him up right away.
Interesting. We're getting some word from our producer that it was a loyalty thing. Shuby stayed loyal to his boys, stayed loyal to Madness. It sounds like Gild thinks it may have been more of an org buyout. Watson, what's your take?
I think Shuby's a Giga Chad. Personally, that's awesome. I mean, I would have left if I was him.
I would.
If I was playing with,
I would have stayed 100%.
If I wasn't getting money from Furia and I got an offer from some good team like DZ, I'm out.
Gild was on Liquid and then joined NRG after like he knew the Liquid roster was good, but it was just an upgrade. I mean, it was an upgrade with another.
Well, hold on though. Was it an upgrade though? Real quick.
I mean, if we talk about where the orgs were at the time, and I mean, NRG they got second place at the last LAN, so I mean, yeah, it was technically still an upgrade. They, NRG got second place at the last LAN. Liquid, I don't remember exactly what they got, but I mean, yeah, XZ won Pro League, but that's not the goal. The goal is to win LAN. NRG made it back. We're all playing on that main stage again. So in the end, I mean, Gil made the best choice for himself. I mean, I had a similar situation when I joined TSM when I was on the Rogue squad. Rogue chose not to sign me. They wanted to, but I didn't. The terms weren't great, so I said no, and I was a free agent. And they asked me to join. I was like, yeah, I'm joining TSM. I want to be on the org. At the end of the day, like if you want to make a profession out of this, you got to make the best calls for yourself.
Yeah, I mean that was like the same thing for me. With NRG, obviously, I thought really highly of Nate and Sweet, and on top of it, I mean the NRG contract was like 16 times better than the one that Liquid had with me.
Literally financially? No, I'm just
kidding. Literally financially.
Literally. Oh, wow. Okay.
And I mean, it just like helped me grow my brand a lot, especially on like Twitch. Like I went from like probably like averaging like 50 viewers even after getting like a second in Sweden to averaging like 400, 500. It was just like, it wasn't really something that I could say no to.
Yep. And that's one thing I respect about you is you are never afraid or shy to take an interview, to do the thing, to set yourself up for success. Watson and I talked a lot about that in our interview the other day, or one-on-one, how much work Watson puts into growing his brand, how he just does not fathom how people don't do that. People like Zero and others that just play the game and don't necessarily care about content, or even your former teammates in XSET, right? They were guilty of that for the first year or 6 months you were on that team. So respect to you for doing it. I completely agree with Snip3down. I think it was the right decision. And meanwhile, Shuby was, in Watson's words, a Giga Chad for staying loyal to his teammates and now paying the price because he could be on this Dark Zero roster. I mean, that's a huge story. Zainu then gets the spot. And was that confirmed? Like they gave the offer to Shuby first, right?
Shuby and Aiden were the two people that they reached out to, I'm pretty sure. And Aiden, after they got first place, said that he wanted to stick with the Glitch Squad. I mean, I think that's also a signed team. But I mean,
well, they signed though. I don't know.
I don't know actually. Yeah, I'm not 100%. But I actually also gained a lot of respect for Shuby there because that wild card roster was killing it. Honestly, the DZ team, they've been kind of known to have a slightly toxic environment at times. So, I mean, if he was very comfortable with what his team on Wildcard was doing and put full trust into them, I mean, I have a lot of respect for him for sticking by his teammates. I also feel good for Madness, because Madness has also been in the same situations that Tech was in the past, where like always getting screwed, and it kind of sucks that both of them missed it by what, 2 points? Is that how it was? They both got 80, and the cutoff was 82. So I genuinely feel for those two people, because they've been in the scene and always been there with the passion, and they're due.
Yep, completely agreed. And one last note, and I want to move on from this topic because we got a lot more of exciting things to talk about. But last note on that is, I don't even know if Dark Zero signed Zainu. Have they officially signed him yet? I don't think they have. The reason I have not, okay, nothing yet confirmed. So our producer just confirmed. So the reason I bring that up is that's another thing, right? Rambo did not get signed by that team. He's obviously trialing, and that's why they're justifying their decision to kind of quote unquote screw Rambo a couple days before LAN. But I understand and respect the loyalty, but Glitch is signed. And also or Aiden to Glitch, and also Shuby to Wildcard. Whereas, Dark Zero, it seems like it's a culture where it's like you got to prove your worth before we will sign you. They weren't willing to necessarily take that risk like Furia did with you, Watson. And we talk about, I guess, Watson, I'm going to give you the last point here. Furia signed you before the last chance qualifier when Furia was a top 24 team or 26 team, and they signed you to a salary before that, right? Talk about a difference in orgs.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. I don't know. They definitely took a huge risk on me, and I was definitely getting overpaid when I first signed. I don't know what they were smoking over there. That was not good. They could have got me for way less, to be honest.
They had faith in you.
I mean, I guess it worked out.
Clearly they did.
That storyline is actually like not. I feel like that's not really talked about very much. I don't know if that flew under the radar or whatnot, but you guys clutching up that LCQ and then going to LAN and dominating, that has to be one of the biggest like underdog types of stories that Apex has had. I also griefed Oxygen at that LAN. I griefed during that online qualifier, I picked Mirage last game, and I'm pretty sure I totally griefed them out of making LAN, and I still feel bad for it.
I remember you doing that. You guys played Mirage, and I think you had like a 9-kill game or something, and like you fought. I think you just fought in Godspot. I don't remember what happened. And, I remember you guys trolling out for sure.
Too funny. Well, clearly it worked out for Furia. Clearly it worked out for you, Watson. You guys are qualifying for LAN. I'm talking head next to three handsome men. Everyone's talking in chat about how handsome Gilderson's is. I don't know what's going on. And Watson. Snip3down, apparently you're no longer good looking. But three guys who have qualified for LAN. Congratulations to all three of you. And let's jump into that discussion here. First topic I want to talk about as it relates to teams that have qualified. I want to go back to Monsoon and Complexity. Look, they were one slot away, 2 slots actually. Fury was technically 1, but 1 point behind you for split 1 Pro League. They had 83 points. They were in 12th place. Only top 10 qualified at the time. Furia was in 11th, and Complexity was in 12th. Monsoon barely missed it then. He missed ALGS championships as well. This is his first time playing in LAN in a long time. I don't remember if he was at Sweden. I can't recall if he has. So that's a big storyline. That squad, he filled a chance, but he didn't qualify with Complexity. That squad obviously is a new team. Former teammates of your teammate, Phonyhead, Luda, and Cody. They've looked pretty damn solid. I want to break down this roster here. Watson, starting with you as the only player here as an IGL. Do you think Monsoon is still a top IGL in the game?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't watch any of the games or keep up with anyone really, other than like over directly impact. I'd never ever see them, so I'd never watch the games. But
no takes.
I have no take. I have no clue. Honestly, he could be the best player in the game, and I would have no clue.
Gild Snip3down up to either of you. Any takes? Not just on Monsoon, but really Complexity as a whole. This whole team. Nothing.
They seem like like it just seems like a team that is gonna float. Like I don't see them as a top team in NA, but I also think that they still deserve to make to LAN. Honestly, like ending in the 9 to 11 range is kind of where I would put them anywhere in the 9 to 13 range in NA. So them making LAN right in that middle, that's kind of where I'd have them on any type of list. I think they're always just going to kind of place in that range when it comes to the best of the best lobbies. That's just how I view that team.
Yeah, that's probably where I'd put them as well, just from a little bit of interaction I have with them, I guess.
Gild, any final takes there?
Not really. I usually don't watch Complexity very much, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yep. Makes sense. Interesting. So a team that none of these three pro players at least have a ton of opinions on, but hey, for those that don't know, this complexity roster, Cody, a really great story, cybersecurity major from Ohio, got picked up last minute by ESA with Phony and with Luda, and they performed really, really well on the ESA roster. Phony obviously joins FaZe. I was rumored for a long time alongside Snipe. It looked great, but stays on the team with Luda, the Canadian controller player. Monsoon joins that team because they needed an IGL because Phony left. Slots into that IGL role, slots right in and sneaks right in to qualify for LAN. But I agree with you guys. They're kind of floating in that kind of mid-tier of these lobbies. We'll see if they are top tier, bottom of top tier, if you will. We'll see how they do in an international competition. But we had to say congratulations to Monsoon. It's a long time coming, and the Complexity organization as a whole. Such an amazing organization. There was a lot of rumors. Are they going to pull out of APAC? Are they going to be the next Team Liquid or Cloud9 that'll pull out? They stayed confident in Monsoon. His future was unknown. I was sitting down next to him as I brought him on the desk at ALGS, and he was talking about maybe even joining us as an ALGS caster, decides to stay, finds a good team, and qualifies. That's an amazing story, and obviously people might or might not know his whole story. Went from being homeless right before Apex Legends came out to playing Apex Legends in a Taco Bell in his PC that he would drag around with him to getting signed by Complexity. So it's an amazing story nonetheless. We're excited for Monsoon, the most talented Renaissance man in Apex, by the way. You guys know how talented the guy sings, cooks, has like the most remarkable amount of talent. Have you guys seen those videos?
I've seen them.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of his Twitter music videos. Those are awesome.
Do you have any talent at all outside of just playing video games?
Me have any talent? I mean, I'm athletic. I can play sports, so it all kind of ends up coming back into the same circle. Hey, I was in honors choir when I was in high school, and then it all changed. It all went downhill after that. But
honors choir?
Yeah, I was in honors choir.
You got a voice, dude. You could be the next Backstreet Boy or something like that. Reincarnated.
See me on the stage. America's Got Talent.
Gild, you're an athlete too, right?
I'm pretty talentless.
Dude,
you just shoot your gun straight.
When I was in elementary, middle school, I used to ball up. I was like the best player on the team, and then as soon as everybody started getting six packs and working out, I fell off hardcore, dude. I just did nothing but play video games. I did not. It was not a good matchup for me around that time.
I was going to say fell off like a certain player in the team, but I decided to refrain. With that said, let's move on to our next topic here. I want to talk through a topic that Solembum in the chat said. I actually added it to our topic list here. E8 nearly yoinks a LAN spot after getting 18th place and barely making it into the regional final. Let's just make this a quick one here. Any thoughts on this E8 roster? And E7 just changed to 8 in real time. On this E8 roster, Zach Mazur designed full chaotic much. I would have loved for them to just steal a spot. They would have stolen either Luminosity or Complexity spot if they won, which is crazy to think about. They obviously didn't do that, but their personalities, it would have been fun to have them on LAN. You think they're good? You think they deserve to be on this LAN? You think they're good enough to be a top 11 team?
No, I think that their chance for qualifying for LAN, like, they shit on TSM and scrims and off spawns and then went and just looted 2 guns and ran from them on ALGS Day. I have no idea why they did that. They were doing poorly. There was like no reason. Like, they should have, in my opinion, they should have built off that momentum in scrims and pulled up on ALGS Day. And I think that if they did well on that day, it might have been the difference maker.
I mean, I'm just praying on their downfall at all times, to be honest. Just at all times.
What? Just because? Because of design full? Because of what?
Yeah, I'm just praying on their downfall.
Praying on the
E8
downfall.
I mean, you know.
I didn't know the Watson E8 arc. Is that a well-known thing? Am I just an idiot and didn't know about it? Living under a rock? Okay.
Yeah, we don't really like each other very much.
Oh shit! This is great. Aaron Dirty Laundry here live on show. Why is that, Watson?
There was some goofing around, some silliness a couple of seasons ago. We're kind of chilled out now, but
still lingering.
So, I'm just praying on their downfall. That's all I'm going to say, I guess.
You must have prayed really hard.
Yes. I was going to say the same thing. Oh, man. Yeah. So E8 does not make it. He was, I guess, because of Watson, apparently. He gave him like a voodoo doll curse. This man, Watson, has 3 voodoo dolls of design full chaotic much in Zach Mazur. Zach's is bald, of course, in his house right behind him somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Good thing the camera zoomed in. I don't want you guys to see any of that. Yeah.
Gavin. Oh man, he's tried zooming in on Watson's solo. All right, let's shift topics. E8 almost makes it. They do not make it. Watson's very happy is the story there. Gildersons, I like your point though. I don't know if you watched last week. We had Designful on the show last week after they got shit on. To be honest, they got 18th place. We thought he was going to back out because we thought he'd be pissed. He came and he was the happiest man alive that he got 18th place and made it by 1 point. And we asked him and he goes, I'm just saying that was not my call. So it must have been Zach Mazer who made the call to, for whatever reason, after dominating TSM in scrims, not contesting TSM. And actually last take here, Snip3down, if they do that, you were part of the conversation last week. Do you think TSM maybe wouldn't have qualified? I mean, they were dominating them in scrims. Do you think 50-50s off rip? TSM doesn't get first place last week. TSM's in a different spot.
I'm wondering if Watson preying on E8's downfall was secretly him like having something for TSM. Like, the whole Hal Watson drama. Maybe he was actually praying for Hal to be on LAN, and that's where that came from. But I mean, I agree with Gild. I think E8 really dropped the ball by not contesting after the scrim dubs, and I think that who knows, maybe if E8 didn't get 18th and got top 8 and then had a good day today, they could have qualified by points. There was a lot more there. I think I've come to the realization that last minute changing anything right before Pro League has never worked for me. Like whether it's changing a comp you think the day before that's just going to work better. I mean, the Rampart Catalyst swap was a pretty lateral move. We got stuck in situations where we weren't holding buildings. We were holding, open areas, and Rampart just gave us more cover. I'm not going to hold an area with a Catalyst queue. So that was just a kind of a game plan switch. But when you swap around a bunch of characters, that always just kind of bites us in the butt. But I mean, I think E8 kind of shot themselves in the foot this split. They chose to contest one of the best teams and that didn't commit to it. And I as confident as Designful was, I don't even know if E8 won a game throughout the entire Pro League. Like when it comes to match point format, that team is a team that's going to drop really big kill games, but they don't win games very frequently. So I think this was extremely difficult for them to come out today. But no, great for them to have that type of positive mentality. I saw a bunch of them tweeting. Zach tweeted. Chaotic dropped 23 kills in the games today, which is just insane. Jeez. If you think about it, and because both his teammates had like under 10, it was pretty nuts. So I mean, he popped off. Maybe it builds some momentum going into next split.
Love it. We'll see if they stick together as a team. What happens? I hope they do, because I agree with that. They're a fun team to watch. Moving on topics here, and actually relating to TSM, we were just talking about EA potentially griefing them. Next topic is, TSM and NRG both make it, despite both at some point being doubted during Pro League. Was there ever any doubt?
Yeah, Gild.
It was getting pretty scary for a while.
Was there any doubt, Gild?
I mean, I'm going to be honest, we're icy when it matters, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, if you think about it on LAN and Grand Finals, our first 3 games, we got 2 points each game and then dropped like a 30-point banger. I mean, it's the same thing with today. Our first 3 games, we got 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, and then won a game. So, I mean, we've always showed up in the lobbies that are really hard and when it really matters. So, I really couldn't be more proud of me and my teammates.
Pretty sure I saw a YouTube video that was like NRG, why they can't win or something. You guys see that?
We won our first game today in Pro League.
I didn't watch it, but
oh wow, I didn't know that.
I don't remember.
This is your first win?
Yeah, this is our first win this whole Pro League split on the day that it mattered.
To be fair, you guys botched like 4 games that you should have had wins in early on in Pro League.
Oh,
so
100%.
Good time to actually catch a dub.
Actually, on that note, great segue, Gildersons. I should pay you to do this. You should take my job, gosh, in case your playing career ever ends. We have a clip ready of NRG winning their first game of Pro. I repeat, their first game of Pro League. I can't believe that happened in the last day of Pro League. Let's watch the clip.
Side of this Sykes trying to keep the dream alive. Exit out. Meat lovers are out as well. NRG move in on E8 to clean up this piece, and this might be the game this time that could be the kind of security game for NRG when it comes to LAN.
But not just that, if NRG win this, they'd also be on match point alongside EA and Dark Zero and Exet, and with how they're fragging at the moment, you'd expect it to happen. The final player goes down, NRG on match point, and it looks like they want to make a real play for LAN.
I wish they would have had our comms, because Nate literally screams at the top of his lungs. It was so loud.
Just like a battle cry? What did he scream?
He's just like, let's fucking go, just at the top of his lungs. Like, it was so loud. I think I yelled pretty loud too.
That's your voice right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. I wish we had those comms too. I think Energy's command center was broken today. Someone's already said I read that in chat at some points. Maybe that's why they didn't have it. But nonetheless, an insane clip. You went sicko mode there, and I looked to see if you had a digi threat and you didn't. So now I'm convinced you have an aimbot. through the Bangalore smoke. But you went insane in that game. That was the game where you guys basically cemented yourself a spot at LAN. I think you Valk ulted, maybe Ubi'd a little bit from like north checkpoint going to north pad. I believe is what happened, and kind of took Godspot, won the game. Walk us through what happened.
So we didn't oob. There was a team playing below us just not moving in checkpoint, so that was super lit. And we just Valk ulted over them, and they all three died to zone. But we Valk ulted over a mountain, and we saw a team, and they were, there was like 5 teams running in from zone, and this team was just like hard focusing them, and we landed behind like a truck in this little corner spot, and they didn't really realize we were there, and we just 3-2-1 one of them, and took that side of zone for free. We wiped that team, wiped another team on the edge, and just walked in from that side of zone and third partied the final fight and won.
Yeah, it was a crazy game, massive high kill game. I want to open the discussion back up to the topic at hand, though. And Snipe, Watson, want your guys to take. Watson said yes, there was a doubt. Snipe, I don't know if you agree or not, but I want to hear from both of you. TSM Energy, was there a doubt?
I mean, I feel like people doubt TSM all the time whenever they're doing bad, and they're just a team that's consistently like just pulled through somehow. I don't know.
Right.
Like, there's always
I want to restate the question, because was there ever like a legitimate doubt? I mean, obviously there was a doubt in general. There was a world where they didn't qual, but was there ever a legitimate doubt? Because I agree with you, Watson. Ultimately, they always find a way.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they were going to make it, to be honest. I mean, if they didn't pull out a dub, that 6 day, I mean, I don't know how they would have kept the momentum going. I mean, they were in the dumpsters for a while, but I mean, it's what they've done consistently, so can't be too surprised, I guess.
People, they love to like hate on us as soon as we start doing poorly. Every single time.
Yeah.
NRG chokes when it matters.
TSM fans specifically, or just people in general?
Just everybody. It's NRG chokes when it matters. NRG chokes at LAN. NRG chokes in ALGS. Always. And we always, since I've been on the team, we've showed up when it mattered. So.
Content creator, tournament warriors, or third party tournament warriors.
Are you the X Factor, Gild? Because before you joined, they definitely did not clutch up in like they won. Energy has always been known for winning every single online tournament that's not ALGS. And then now that you've joined, it's been more consistent in terms of your placements. Like on LAN, that second place was the best place like that they've had. And then going to this next one, you guys clutched up. What do you think like was the biggest issue for your slow start this season in comparison to like did you prep any differently going into this last week? Because for me, I didn't doubt TSM because they were putting in the work. I know they were doing a lot of stuff outside the game. I was on that team. I know TSM plot armor, it's always there. So I doubted you guys way more, because when Sweet hates the game, he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to do like the extra stuff. When he's playing, he's one of the best players in the game. Like, and it's not even close. Like the things that he does is not even close. I mean, you guys bailing from scrims this week, not doing super great in scrims. I know scrims don't really matter much, but it was the final week. Some people are going to panic, try and do everything they can going into that final week. Was there like any difference in how this last week was before the previous 6?
Well, to be fair, those last scrims, Nate's PC blue screened and he was stuck on a black screen for like 3 hours before we even figured out how to fix it. So it's not like we just dipped on scrims because we didn't want to play. Like Nate's PC was actually fucked. But I mean, in my opinion, we didn't really put in the effort this Pro League split, if I'm being completely honest.
That's why I doubt it.
Nate and Sweet didn't really play the game very much at all this Pro League split. But I mean, this last week we really locked in. We started playing. We played ranked like 2 hours before the tournament today. Hopped in a custom and practiced some like Valk ults, and that's the kind of effort that we've been missing, I think, a little bit. I definitely think that like I am kind of the X factor for when like they picked me up and everything. I mean, first tournament that I played in with Sweet and Nate ever. It was ESA, and we were undercover with 3 different names, but some random team like contested us at staging, and like Sweet like died for free in like some contest, and I got like a 1 clip and then fried another, and like literally as soon as we won the off spawn, Sweet just yells, he's like, "See, that's what we've been missing, like right there, like somebody opening up the fight like that."
Yeah, I think your playstyle definitely is what Energy needed really bad. I feel like Rocker and Nathan are kind of just like the same player. They do the same thing. I feel like a lot of the good teams now, like Xset, us, Furia, TSM, like they all kind of have the same like archetype of like players of like the idiot controller player, like an IGL, like versatile IGL, and then just like a hard anchor MK player. Like they all kind of have the same thing going on. So that definitely, you're definitely
You're calling Gillerson's an idiot controller player.
I mean, that's just
got one apparently.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, every team's got one.
I mean, having I think like that controller player that can just randomly open up a fight by randomly one clipping somebody. It's just like something that's obviously extremely nice to have, and almost like I feel like it's like needed at this point with how many controller players there are in Pro League. Like I can't even imagine playing triple MK. It would be so hard.
That'd be miserable, dude.
Dude, I didn't think 100 Thieves made it. I thought they got 16th on the day, I believe. Yeah, they got 16th. I thought that they were gonna choke it at the end.
I thought GE wasn't gonna qual. They were in like 20th for a while.
The whole day they were in 20th until the last game. They got one extra point.
Crazy. I mean, they needed to get 19th or 20th, I think, to not qual because they had such a good advantage. They were kind of in the same spot as you, Watson, right behind you guys, Furia and Optic and XSET. That was a crazy one. Back to the discussion on Gilderson. That's actually really interesting. I agree with both of you, Snipe and Watson. Gilderson's was the difference. Look, Gild knows this. I think people who watch ALGS and heard me cast ALGS knows this. I've been a big fan of Gilderson's for a long time, actually since he was on Knights. I saw how different he was at the game, and I really, really respect Hodzik and the Liquid boys for scouting him and finding him. He got a lot of respect when he joined Liquid and was on XSET, as like many people were throwing out there and touting best controller player in the world. And then for some reason, maybe it's the same thing you said, Gilderson's, where everyone just loves to hate on NRG. I feel like he kind of fell out of the discussion a little bit to the hands of like Effect and Sykes and Jen Burton and Verhulst. Gil, do you believe you're the best controller player in Apex Legends?
I mean, I feel like if you're playing and you don't think like you're the best, you're doing it wrong. I mean, my role, people don't realize that my role changed like a lot in terms of like how we play the game when I switched from Liquid to NRG. When I was on Liquid, I was just like hard opening in fights. Like they were just sending me in, go one clip somebody, I'd throw a Caustic ult on a team and just go handle them. It was completely different. Now with NRG, I sit here and anchor spots in zone, and when Sweet and Nate are running off duo, I'm staring at our back. It's not the same role. So I mean, I'm not gonna get as many kills and be as flashy, but I'll do whatever the team needs.
I respect that. Snipe and Watson, I want to ask you guys both one question, then we have a clip we're going to show here in a second. This is going to get awkward because Gilderson's is literally on the call, but that's the point of the show. Snipe Down and Watson, who's a better controller player, Verhulst or Gilderson's or Sykes? This is like choose your Pokemon at the beginning of a Pokemon game.
I mean, Sykes is my boy. I'm a big Sykes enjoyer personally.
Sykes gets your vote?
Yeah.
Snipe?
Sykes gets my vote for this split.
Yeah. Damn, Gild! Damn!
What will I ever do?
I mean, Sykes is my boy. What are you going to say?
All right, fair.
And Sykes has played better than me this Pro League split. That's fine by me.
I respect that answer.
I'm going off of currently at this exact point in time. Yes,
at this exact point in time. And look, Sykes actually. I thought Sykes might get a little nervous on LAN. First time on LAN, he proved to me that he has what Gilderson's has and a few other players Snipetown has historically from Halo. The ability to not be an online warrior and to still have ice on LAN. I think he has that in him. I saw it, but I do have to say, I think Nocturnal is now getting in the same discussion as not the same, not even close, but could be in a similar discussion as Sweet, right? Everyone knows Nocturnal is the best IGL in the game. At the end of the day, what matters the most is who wins on LAN and performs on LAN. And going from the last LAN, TSM 1, NRG was the most dominant team. They were not the same level of dominance as Furia had at Champs, but they were the Furia of this LAN. They had the most points in finals. They had the most points in winners bracket finals. The two hardest lobbies on LAN in the tournament, Gilderson's and NRG showed up. So that's a big discussion point going into the playoffs here. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
To be fair, I'm 2 for 3 on seconds right now in Apex, so that's pretty good.
That's solid. I agree with that. Wait, you got second with XSET?
With Liquid and Sweden.
Liquid in Sweden, yes. 2 for 3. And then Champs, what'd you guys get?
Oh, we don't talk about Champs. We got like 16. Or something like that.
Was it like 15th, 16th, something like that?
Yeah, we got
That's
on
impressive.
Champs.
That's impressive. Snipe, Watson, any final thoughts on this topic?
Wait, have we all gotten second place at a LAN? We have. I got second place at X Games, Gild at the last one, and then Watson at which one is that? Champs? or Sweden or
Raleigh
something?
champs.
I'm cursed with
Raleigh
second. I got second in Twitch Rivals on LAN too.
Second
Yeah.
place.
Oh wait, I got second place in every tournament I played on too. Is this where the curse admins were just all thrown down to the same broadcast, the second place Warriors, and we're going to do some Super Saiyan dance or something, and then solve it?
I think
Maybe?
so. I think so.
I think so.
Match point
All
has robbed all of us. It looks like.
Besides me, I didn't play a match point finals. I played Gears of War professionally. It's a different world. But yeah, that's it. Okay. Well, hey, this is the moment where the curse is broken. Watson, go back to that freaking closet of yours and do whatever you need to do with the voodoo doll
I got
magic
you.
thing
I got you.
that you do down in Arkansas.
Yeah, I got you. The Arkansas witchcraft. I got you, dude.
Arkansas witchcraft. He's got us covered. He did tell me that, back in high school, people would party in parking lots in their trucks, and he'd go home and just do weird things. Maybe that's what he did. Witchcraft. I don't know. I'm literally buying time right now because we're trying to find a clip that we wanted to add, but we're not going to be able to get it. Just got word that we're not going to be able to get it. The clip was, and if we can get it at some point, fingers crossed, Bella and Cody make it work. There was a clip of Hal on this show 3 weeks ago. I asked him straight up, do you think TSM will qualify for LAN? He said no. We're not playing like it. We're not going to qualify. And then they ended up qualifying. So that was the final thing I wanted to kind of showcase and talk about. Let's move on from this topic, though. Obviously, TSM and NRG, two big names, first and second place in London, the previous London. The fact that both of them were at risk at some point with doubt of not qualifying is insane. Let's move on to our next topic here. A lot more to kind of talk through. The next one I want to talk about is FaZe. I want to kind of go through each of your teams here if we can. First things first, FaZe. FaZe up and also FaZe downs this season. I think you guys have mostly been solid and consistent, Eric. I agree. But I think you guys started looking very, very good on nothing but an upward trajectory. And then when you guys took that break and the 2-week kind of break you had, halfway break or whatever, you went to Florida, you went to Indiana to visit your mom, which I obviously respect the hell out of you for that. It seems like since then you guys have kind of flatlined a little bit. Would you agree with that or am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, we had a week, and that was the week after we got 18th, and I think we prepped wrong for how we wanted to do that. We tried to stray away from what we were good with our gameplay. We tried to rush to spots. Other teams were cutting us off, and it just felt like we weren't playing our game. At the end of the day, like we just want Phony, who's our IGL, that we have all the trust in the world making the calls, to have the utmost confidence in how he wants to play the game. You can prep all you want, and you put a lot of work in behind the scenes, but if the person who's making the calls isn't comfortable with the work that we prepped, then it's not going to have good results. And we did not have good results. Kind of went back to the drawing board. We got a good 5th place, I think, the next week, and then ended 11th place in the final week. But for us, I think we're back on the upwards trend. We got a lot of time. There's new characters going to come out. We're going to see how that fits into our comp, but we're really comfortable with we got some POIs that we want to hold down. We feel like our storm point is getting much better. Our World's Edge is where we got all our points originally. Our storm point is now where we're getting our points. And I think we probably ended in the top 3 teams of overall wins throughout all of Pro League. I mean, we won 2 games today. We're missing out on a lot of KP, which I think is something that we need to find ways to get more KP in these games, because it's how you can have the big games. I mean, you look at like NRG, they had, it's what Gild was saying, they get 2 points, then all of a sudden they drop an 18 kill win or like a 15 kill second, and that's 20 plus points that you just put on the board. Like, those games are how you can propel yourself to be in the top of every single tournament. It's obviously good to be consistent. I think we are consistent, but still a lot to prep for, and a lot of openings for us to improve on. So nothing but positive vibes for the future for our squad.
I want to see if you guys have any Gildersons or Watson, any thoughts on what you've seen from FaZe. Phony is an IGL, most slept on IGL in the game. Any thoughts or topics on FaZe's roster as a whole before we move to a subtopic here?
Do you guys think we were going to suck at the beginning of the season? That's
I'm not gonna lie, I was hard sleeping on Phony, and I didn't know how washed Snipe was, if I'm being completely honest. So I didn't have a lot of confidence, but when I saw you guys play, I was like, all right, never mind. All the doubts were out the window.
So you doubted Phony, you were sleeping on him, and you thought Snipe was more washed than he actually is?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Snipe did a lot better this Pro League than I thought he was going to, and props to him.
I feel like it's pretty easy to sleep on Phony. He doesn't post anything or stream really much, or that much. But I don't know. I've known Phony a long time, and recently he's been killing it, dude. Like, I don't know. He's just under the radar. He's just a solid player.
Yeah.
definitely.
100% agree with that. I think I talked to him a lot. We sat down for a whole dinner with his whole team. I got to know Cody and Luda and Phony, and his story is crazy. People don't realize he's just quietly been a great player. He played with Rambo and Fury Sucks and My Little Phonies. Came out of nowhere at the LGS Championship, the North American Championship in 2021. They were like a top 3 team. I don't know if you guys remember. They were a top 3 team in group stages. They dominated, and unfortunately couldn't do it in playoffs when it came down to it, the final bracket. But since then, has just slowly and quietly been on the up and up. He was the only pro player last split that had a full-time job while also playing Apex professionally. He was in cybersecurity. Since he's just been able to quit and focus full-time on Apex, he got married right after the Split 1 playoffs in London. I feel like he's just riding a high right now. I'm so happy for him. One thing I would say, though, I wish he would try to do more if he can with the FaZe opportunity of content, getting his name out there. I'd love to have him on a podcast like this. But last final thought on FaZe, I want to move on to Furia. Snipe on the topic of Phony, and also I want you also to answer the question of like you being washed up. I want you to address it because it seems like everyone that was becoming popular opinion. Did you ever at any point think you were washed up, or you always had confidence?
I mean, I always had the confidence in myself, but I mean, I was washed up when I first came back to Apex. I took a year off the game and came back to a completely different meta than when I left, and it was a seer meta that had been going on for almost a full year. So I just wasn't prepped as everyone else, and it took me time to adapt back to the meta and figure out exactly how I needed to play to the best capabilities of my team. I also don't think my team in the first split was a great fit for me. I feel like we just didn't really have our roles set. We didn't know what we were doing, and I know my exact role on my current squad. So it took me a little while to get back, but I mean, I feel like I'm up there with the top controller players in terms of my positioning. I don't feel like I make very many mistakes in these games. My shot is still really good, and at the end of the day, I think I performed great this pro league, and there's still a lot of improvement to be made in that regards. And when it comes to Phony, I mean, I wanted to team with Phony for a while. It's actually hilarious because Chrono kind of put me onto Phony, made me start watching him. Like this was even throughout the last pro league, he just kept hyping him up, saying how good he was, and I kept seeing this ESA squad flying under the radar, and then it came into I think the last few weeks of last pro league split, Phony was just winning games, constantly winning games, big KP games. There was the Horizon meta, and then they won the Pro League split in 5 games, match point format. I think it was the fastest NA match point that we'd ever had. And after that, it was like, yeah, I want this guy because I just listened to the comms, the passion. The guy's very down to earth. He's got a good head on his shoulders, mature conversations. And then we just kind of built the team the way we wanted to with Frex being the third.
Pretty awesome story, man. Yeah, you basically, and I heard you talking about it too. I saw a clip of you basically saying, look, I came back to Apex. I didn't know who was the best. I thought I knew who the best was a year ago. Slurpee, everyone was talking about him being next. He's been nowhere to be found, by the way, ever since. I used to call him Weapon X. But, you finally had a chance to kind of assemble that God squad with the FaZe backing. It's been pretty fun to watch. So if you are a fan of that story, Phony is, full-time job to now full-time pro Apex player, rise and come up. Frex, who's been so damn solid. Frex and Snip3down were former teammates on Reciprocity. It's a really cool story overall. FaZe is a team to easily be a fan of. I want to shift the conversation to Furia real quick. Watson, not the best day today. You had all the confidence in the world the other day when we were talking. You always seem to kind of blame yourself, which I respect. I don't know if you've read the book Extreme Ownership by someone who's in the Navy SEALs, but you embody that mentality, which I respect. But you still have nothing but confidence in you and your team going into LAN. You think you guys can repeat what you did in Champs?
Yeah, I mean, today definitely comment his Watson L. I just woke up today, my sleep was just all messed up. Woke up, just not working. And then going to the games, I was trolling with the Wingman, did not work. Wingman, worst gun ever, dude. Horrible. And then I just got kind of bored toward the end and just could not lock it in at all, dude. 100% my fault. Like, that just seems to be the story of Furia. Like, if I show up and bring the energy, we pop off, and some days I just do not do that. Like, I don't know. Days where I'm on, I feel like we just kill it. Like, we just roll over everyone. And then some days I show up and I'm just like, wow, I am the worst player in the game. Like, why am I not playing good? And it's like, I don't know.
I used to, I was the agile on my teams back when I competed. I used to have those highs and lows as well. Look, you got to fix that, dude. Back when I competed esports, we didn't have the money or the resources to hire performance coaches or all types of different coaches. Are you doing anything like that? Exercise every day, mental kind of performance training. If not, how could you fix that?
I mean, for me, I feel like it's something different every time. Like yesterday, or like this morning, I guess, like I had something going on and like my sleep got all messed up and just did not get good sleep, and then showed today and did not bring the energy at all. I mean, I feel like it's just something different every day, and I mean, this is the first game I've ever really been good at. So I think down the line, like I'll kind of get it ironed out and figured out, like what I need to do to show up like 100%. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely days where it's just not there. But that is something obviously I'm trying to get better at, is always being as close to 100% as I can. But obviously, not the best at doing that. I mean, I feel like that kind of shows in our performance. I mean, I feel like we either just roll over everyone or we just get like 15th. Like, I feel like we don't often have a lot of like mid days where we get like 8th or 10th or 12th. Like, it's kind of all or nothing. And most of that, I feel like it's just like if I show up or not. I mean, Pannon's era, like, especially this split, every time we've showed up, like, they've always brought like 100%. And it's just like day one, like I was just not in it. Today, I got bored. I was just not like, I just could not lock in, like, for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean,
LAN's a different story. LAN is a different story. Snipe, Gild, any thoughts on the whole topic?
I mean, I think Furia is one of the most explosive teams in the game. I mean, I really do think there's very few. This goes back to complexity. Like, I don't see complexity being able to win a LAN. Like, they'll be a team that's going to float. They'll get into the rounds. I could see them making it to the finals, but I don't see them as a team that's going to like turn up on LAN. You have the NRGs, the TSMs, the Furias, the Optics, and I put my team into that consideration. Those are the teams that I see with the capability to win LAN. I think 100 Thieves can even though this kind of confirmed exactly what I said about Onmu and 100 Thieves, is they get top 5 or they get bottom 5. I don't think like there really is no in between with that team. So there's teams that can win games and there's teams that can like keep floating through. And Furia is just a team that I could see getting top 3. It's like LG as well. Like LG can put up massive game and massive points, but I don't really see LG winning a LAN, but I could see them getting a top 3 on points. And I mean, that was Furia's motto going into the rally LAN, where they just put up as many points as they possibly could to just get as high of a placement as they can.
It's a good way to wrap it up with Furia. I definitely would put them in that same category. We obviously haven't talked about Optic yet. We haven't talked about XSET in much depth outside of Gilderson's no longer being on XSET and Sykes being the best controller player in the game. But I'm excited to see what XSET can do on LAN as well. Can this be the first time Nocturnal hosts a championship? Shout out to XSET for supporting that team. My friend at Jacob MVPR for scouting them out and supporting them when they were going through the Liquid situation. So those are 2 big teams. Let's shift the topic a little bit from just team-specific discussion. Let's talk about this 2-month break. I mean, look, we were talking right before we went live, just amongst us. There's a 2+ month break before this first LAN event. Pro League just ended. It's the 7th or 8th. And the event is, rumored to be mid-July. I don't even know if the dates or the venue is officially publicly announced yet. Hasn't been, fully announced yet. So all that to say, that's a long break. That's a long time. So much can change in 2 months. What do you think will change in 2 months? And what are your thoughts on the 2-month break?
I mean, apparently we're playing on a whole different patch. New character who might end up being Giga OP or, completely useless, I guess. Like, I mean, I think character-wise, I think people will probably go back to just like what they know instead of like going for weird like comps. Like they'll probably just play like some easy stuff like Rampart or Valk. But I mean, who knows? Ballistic could shake up the entire meta and then we're playing a whole different game. But it's kind of hard to have like a meta shift when you're only playing scrims. I mean, because they're obviously not a great, representation of the actual game. So I think it'll just kind of be a bunch of random garbage, and then we'll show up to LAN, and that's when the meta will actually get like ironed out. Like, okay, well, this comp's not working. Let's go back to like what we know works, or like, meta really only changes a lot during the actual games. I feel like those build up parts, like nothing really happens. It's not really good practice.
I mean, I'm honestly just praying that Seer gets absolutely nerfed into the ground before this next LAN, because I'm so bored of playing this game in Seer meta. It is so stale and so boring, and it's literally almost a must pick on every single team, unless you're playing hard zone.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The dynamic of like, okay, I want to push these guys, but we're gonna get Seer ulted, and then we can't play when we're able to play the game. That's mad annoying. Like,
yeah,
that happens literally every tournament. Like, okay, well, they didn't have Seer. Any other character in the game, we could actually play and 3v3 them, but they're just gonna mop us because they can press one button and throw it down. Like,
yeah, he's so good. I think a big reason that we did when I was with Liquid still, when we did bad at that LAN that we got like 16th at, is like Watson landed right next to us on our side of the zone. We landed SkyWest Trials and he landed Countdown. And we would be set up in good spots for zone. And Watson's team would pull up and just shit on us with Seer. And we were just like, bro, we don't even know what to do. Like, we literally, like, playing against Seer when you're on, like, Gibby or something without it is just so hard. Like, that character is just so insane. His whole kit is just ridiculous.
That LAN had to be so fun for you guys when no one else was on Seer and you were just running at everyone. That had to be so fun.
It was pretty fun. I mean, not only was like Seer just the best character in the game, like completely slapped on, he just like hard countered the meta that was there already. So it was like just double bad. Like it was pretty fun.
I remember we were sitting top trials and they wrapped zone on us from Lava Fisher. I can remember the exact play. They caught one of our teammates off guard, knocked him. We go to bubble and res. They Seer cancel the res. We go to res again. They horizon ult us and then throw like 16 arc stars at the edge of our bubble. And we were just like, bro, what do we do?
Yeah,
Bubble.
Remember that. That could have been a game we won. We needed just literally one more wipe without like fourth team. Like if we did not get knocked, we actually probably would have won that game. That was a match point game.
Yeah, but for those that maybe are a more recent or newer fan of the ALGS or competitive Apex, the story here is a pretty crazy one. Watson picked Seer literally from a ranked game because it was like 4 a.m. and he was trolling, playing with one of his friends. I think it was Messiah, right, Watson?
Yeah, I was playing on Messiah.
And said, screw it, I'm playing Seer. And it said, his friends said, you better not pick Seer. Seer's terrible. He said, no, I'm just going to pick Seer. And just did it. Realized, wait a minute, Seer's ult is OP. You just drop his ult and you could shoot diamonds. Like, this is really OP. I think there's something here. Joins Furia. He was a ranked grinder. No one really knew who he was in the competitive scene. People knew him from the rank scene. The pros knew him, but fans didn't. Joins Furia 3 days, a bottom tier, like D tier team or C tier team, and qualifies through last chance qualifiers by dominating with Seer, makes it to LAN and dominates ALGS championships in his debut event. They got the most points by a long shot. They didn't win the championship. Dark Zero did because of match point format. But you guys had like, what, 130 points, 120 points to Dark Zero's like 70 or something?
I don't remember. We had a good amount more than them. I think we had 11 more than second place. I don't really remember.
It's crazy. But in doing so, created the Seer meta that Gilderson's now just spoke to being very, very stale. And it's been about 10 months of, no, maybe the last 9 months of Seer meta. I think it was 2 or so months after champs that everyone kind of picked on to that meta. But Watson and Furia did it first. It was Seer. It was a little bit of Fuse. They ran Horizon really before Horizon was ultra popular. Back then it was all Caustic Gibby. So crazy turn of events. And ever since then, Seer has been a staple in competitive Apex. Every team kind of must have Seer for the most part. And some rumors that, maybe Seer's getting nerfed. You just said you hope it happens, Gilderson. Snip3down. You think it will happen? You think it should happen? Obviously, I'm sure I know the answer to that second question.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some talk about, Catalyst was supposed to block Seer ult in the first place. That was pretty much talked about, and everyone thought that Seer was going to get this nerf. That's why everyone started picking Catalyst, and then people were like, oh, he's not getting... You can still Seer ult over Catwall, so then Cat Seer meta became a thing, and then now we're having Ramparts, and it's all over the place. But, I mean, the thing is, though, like, Respawn said that they don't want characters to counter, like, to be picked to counter other characters. They've said that in the past, so, like, picking Catalyst to specifically counter Seer isn't what they want, so I don't really know what the best route is, but I think we can all agree that we just don't want Seer to be in the meta anymore. I've talked about this. He just takes too much away from what the skills are to be a professional. Having the awareness, having all of that should be a skill that you have, not something that's placed in front of you and given for free.
Yeah, I think we all agree on Seer. Let's move on from the Seer topic, but meta all up. Yeah, Snip3down just alluded to it. Ramparts and meta. We saw some Mad Maggie and Fuse today. We saw some different things happen. Alliance obviously shaking things up. We saw some Revenant back in play. Your guys' thoughts on meta as it currently stands? Obviously, new season's coming out. Is it Tuesday? Literally, a day or two. It's going to shake things up quite a bit. But meta as it currently stands and how you think it can evolve, obviously ignoring what we do or do not know about this new character ballistic.
I'm pretty happy with where it is right now, especially compared to how it was like, a while ago, like a year ago. Like there's a lot more diversity and niche picks and Ramparts and Maggies and Fuses and Horizons. Like definitely a lot more fun to watch for sure, instead of just being like giga boring Costa Gibby ult. There's definitely a couple things that are kind of starting to get kind of stale, like Seer ult and you know, Horizon is getting really stale, like stuff like that. But
Charge
you know,
rifle.
for charge rifle, that has
Charge
got
should
to be
have gone in the package.
that has got to
Kind
be
of
the
upset about
worst.
that.
It's got to be the worst thing in the game. Like you try to fight a team, and a team 200 meters away is charge rifling you, and now you can't fight them, and you have to Valk ult. Like that is so cringe. I think honestly, other than Cyril and charge rifle, I think meta's pretty good. It's pretty fun. Well, Nemesis too, I guess that shit's OP as
I think
well.
the R9 needs nerf too.
Yeah.
I
Those four
got
things, I
charge
guess.
rifle Nemesis through a rampart wall on a cross today and died in a split second. It was so fast. It was really unlucky.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Dude, I've been using the wingman, and against the R9 and the Nemesis, I'll shoot 2 bullets, and they've dumped their whole mag.
Bro, I'm on the
Of
same
R9.
page as you. I tried to use the wingman in comp or in some scrims, and I ended up whiffing the first 2 shots, and I'm like, I just
And
threw
you're
the whole
dead.
fight for my team. I literally,
Yeah.
I was like, me taking those 2 shots and whiffing, done for. I actually just threw, and I refused to ever pick up that weapon in comp anymore.
And
Yeah, like-
everyone, we all know like Apex intentionally respawn intentionally, which I actually think it's an admirable thing. I like that they do this. They intentionally over tune weapons. They've said that publicly when the new weapon comes out to get people to pick it up and use it, with the understanding that they're eventually going to tune it down. Did they announce Nemesis? Have they announced patch notes that Nemesis are going to get nerfed?
I don't think they've
I don't
announced
think
any
so.
patch
I
notes.
think so.
Oh, they haven't. Okay. So TBD.
I think in like
come out.
in one of the trailers though, I think the R9 had less bullets in the mag or something.
Ooh.
I think they like accidentally leaked it or something.
Yep, got it. So usually I think patch notes come out the day of or day before an update. Obviously the update's on Tuesday. We'll see what the changes will be in terms of overall meta. But no, I really agree. Watson, I think you summarized it best, and you guys all summarized the conversation best. State of meta right now, at least it's better than it was. I agree, way better than it was at Champs. I thought at Champs, the Caustic, Gibby meta, Valk, obviously 100% pick rate. Valk's still really, really important, but not a must have now. I think edge teams can play a Valkless team comp now, which is a good thing. I didn't think Valk was great at that time as a must pick. I thought it was a really stale state. It wasn't really fun to watch as from an entertainment perspective, at least. I thought the meta at London actually wasn't terrible, even though it was Seer Horizon meta. So all that to say, I think it is not as bad as it seems, even though Seer makes it seem really bad, and it obviously is bad with Seer. I agree with everything you said, Eric, as well. And everything we all said about the weapons and things like that. Good discussions overall. I'm going to shift the conversation, though, to international LAN competition. This is going to be really our last big topic. We now move into a fun era. This is where scrims change, regional bubbles. When we say regional bubbles for the new viewers watching, there's basically scrim bubbles and regional bubbles that exist. You know, the pro teams in EMEA scrim the pro teams in EMEA. Same with North America, APAC North, APAC South, throughout the entirety of Pro League, and for what, 4 months now, 3-4 months now. But now that we're preparing for a global LAN, Minus Tempo is the one that kind of takes a global leadership role and is going to be organizing international scrims, I think, starting in a few weeks. Your thoughts on international competition here, gentlemen, at a macro level? Any international teams in particular that really stick out to you as teams that you think have a chance to win, to be the first non-North American currently existing Pro League team to win?
I think Alliance is pretty good. Really the only one that I have in like my head for that.
Heard. I don't really watch other regions very much, but Moist is seeing a lot of hype around them, and Fnatic as well. I saw Sarah and UCAF were number 1 and 2 for kills in their region. I'm pretty sure.
Crazy.
So I don't really watch other regions, so I don't have too much to say about it, other than they're pretty good. Lion seems pretty good. Effect seems pretty strong.
Everyone's hyping them up. I actually haven't been able to watch too much. Fire Beavers is a team that everyone kind of hypes up, just their ability to fight. And I think they're an all mouse and keyboard team, right? Fire Beavers?
Yeah.
CIS specifically mouse and keyboard. Eastern
Really
Europe.
impressive to see how dominant they are. And then Fnatic.
Aurora as well as all MNK, right? Ranches, Cleve, and Molly. I think Molly's still on the team.
Yeah, Aurora
Maybe?
is triple
Yeah.
MK.
Aurora's all triple MK as well. Yeah, most of the CIS kind of Russian or Ukrainian, etc. teams are MK, which is insane. Everyone was hyping up Fire Beavers early on in Pro League. They ended up in 4th or 5th, I think. We're gonna actually walk through the standings right now. So let's walk through the standings, starting with NA. Let's just wrap that up real quick. We wrapped up the discussion already. This is a North American time zone broadcast. Here, in case y'all missed it today, as a result of the regional final, here is your North American Pro League teams that have qualified for the Split 2 playoffs. It was top 11 because they earned 1 additional spot based on their performance in London. So Luminosity makes it because of that, which is crazy to think. Furia got that spot in last Pro League, but did not qualify because it was top 10 back then, which is kind of crazy. But let's shift the conversation in EMEA here. Europe, Middle East, and Africa is what EMEA stands for. We'll showcase the EMEA standings here in a second, if you can pull it up as well, Chrono. And of course, for those that are unaware, EMEA Team Alliance ended up on top. Biggest storyline there. They pick up the Russian 17-year-old, by the way, Effect. I think he's about to turn or just turned 18 maybe. Moved him and his mother from Russia to, I believe, Serbia or somewhere else, and dominated the Pro League. They won today. They won overall. The overall best team in EMEA, and it's showing, led by Hockey, arguably a top 5 IGL in the world, but his LAN placements haven't entirely shown it, despite getting a top 5, I believe, here in our last London event. We'll see if they can get a dub. Vex Gaming, obviously a big story. They looked really good in Pro League and Split 1 and then dropped the goose egg. They didn't even make it top 30, I don't believe, at London LAN. So the question is, are they the modern-day online warriors is the question. Unlucky. Matafe and co. KCP picks up Zane, looks good. There's Firebeavers, we talked about them. J-Lings, which is a great squad. They're still playing with Nags alongside JMW and Noises from the former Invictus Gaming squad. Element 6, K Swinney, Ascend, the best performing EMEA team at the last event. Two R1C, 2 Rats, 1 Controller, which is a crazy story of them qualifying. That's a dark horse team. Aurora and Eternal. So I'm going to open up the discussion to all of you. Any teams you want to pick and talk about, any thoughts on these EMEA squads and who has a chance to potentially win in London?
I don't follow. I really don't follow much. Yeah, Alliance. I think Alliance did well at the last LAN. I think they're probably the best team in Europe. I think they deserve to win, and they're probably the number 1 team in that region that I'd be looking out for.
Yeah, I'm happy for Effect, dude. I playing against that guy in ranked, like two. I think I did 2 rank 1 races against him. He's really solid. Like even his first split that he showed up in ranked, I could tell he was a really good player.
I used to play with him on PS4 when he was number 1 pro a long time ago.
Yeah, he's solid, dude.
He's been that guy for a while, Gild.
Yeah. He was really good on console, too.
Yep, insane. Crazy story. One of the few CIS or Russian players that plays on controller. Most of them are, again, mouse and keyboard. Everyone remembers Sanya and Esdesu and Hardeki and all of them, the former greats of EMEA. Still, obviously, Hardeki is still competing. We'll see if we'll see him back in a LAN anytime soon. But with that, since champs. With that said, that's EMEA. Good to get one take from each of y'all. Let's shift on to APAC South. Mentioned Moist already. They win, but not necessarily in a dominant fashion. Onyx right behind them in second. Black Hand in third. Dreamfire, the only non-Aussie team so far, I believe, in fourth. And MDY White in 5th place overall. Again, I know you guys don't know much about EMEA, so let's just keep working through here. Unless you guys have any takes on Moist here, any takes on Moist, Onyx, or Black Hand, who might be the teams you guys are aware of?
I don't watch this region at all, if I'm being completely honest.
But I think that was the
yeah,
case.
I don't watch their games either.
Waltzy's a cool guy, though.
I like Waltzy. Biggest story here
great.
is Panay Ironblood Gaming. So Panay, Strafing Flame, and them, a team that was really, really solid and actually performed well in London, did not qualify. Sniped, I don't know if you know those guys.
No, I know that Moist is in our group, so that's a team that I'm gonna have to pay a lot more attention to.
All right, note to self, note to Chrono, my producer. We are bringing more global talent and analysts on this show as we now move forward into the LAN competition. Obviously, no, jokes aside, this has historically been a North American show for that reason. It's meant to be an after-hour show after North American time zone. But we will, you better believe, After Hours is going to be doing weekly broadcasts going up until the LAN competition, where we're going to start bringing some people from international scenes as well. But let's keep it rolling. I'm not going to ask you guys to make takes anymore because, God, you guys don't know a thing except for your bubble that you live in. You'll start learning here soon that you have to study. APAC North. Let's roll through and talk about the APAC North region. Fnatic ties, by 1 point wins over Northeption, but dominated the match point final. They win overall over NTH or Northeption, who drops down to Beast, I believe, will be contesting with Optic in international scrims. I can't remember where Fnatic drops, but yeah, this is where it's going to get crazy. 9 teams from APAC North. I think Fnatic is North Pad. So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting here. Conboreo Tucson in 3rd place. GO was kind of the big surprise team that performed so well. They had a roster swap with, I think it was Crazy Raccoon. Big, change up there. Fun 1, 2, 3. Former AD Raccoon squad. Naked, Crazy Raccoon, RO or Riddle Order. Pulverex, the F-Chan stands can continue to cheer on the man. And by the way, the craziest thing, the only take I'm going to say on this region, there's a lot, I've already given some, is Pulverex literally played, I don't know if you guys noticed this, they literally played in London the same way they played as a duo team of 2 at Champs. They were just ratting to endgame every single game. It was hilarious.
Oh, I don't know if you know too, when they were duo in winners finals, they Valculted and their teammate got teleported into zone and died across the map, and that's why they didn't qual. They got 11th in winners finals.
No chance.
They would have qualified as a duo, and they went to Valcul, and their teammate literally got teleported into zone like 1,000 meters away, and that's why they didn't qual.
Damn.
How did I not know about that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
ALGS Watson doesn't know about that too.
ALGS probably wasn't eager to post about it.
Yeah.
No.
Let's watch that again. It's just this game-ending glitch.
We buried that one deep, perhaps. Crazy guy. I actually did not know that. That's insane. So yeah, Pulverex gained a lot of fans there. It was a really cool story. We hyped them up, and it sounds like they could have made it to the grand finals as a duo, which is crazy. But the fact that they played the same way in London, they just rat. I've never seen a team play like that. You know, Watson was talking our one-on-one interview the other day of how he was the first team he thinks that pioneered like hard edge fighting, realizing that 7-8 kills is worth the same as like 5th, 6th place. So why not do that? And it looks like Pulverex is now pioneering just pure ratting and don't shoot your gun until late game. But now, jokes aside, the last and final region, well, it's South America. So APAC North only had 9 teams. South America still had 5 teams qualify, which I think is worth a discussion point in itself. This region is continuing to prove that they're the weakest region in the ALGS, yet they have as many teams as APAC South, which has proven that pound for pound, they're the top 2 best region in the ALGS, which is interesting. A lot of new names here, though, and a lot of shocks. FA players, formerly, I believe, Singularity, Fellas, Gosu, Leave No Witness, and ATH, HVY are the teams that qualified through South America. I know a good amount about this team from London. I spent a lot of time studying this team and region, but I haven't watched a lot of them recently, so I have to catch myself up to speed. But this is the South America region. So with that said, overall topic, international competition, what you heard. You know, Northeption dropping Northpad. Fnatic dropping Northpad. Northeption dropping down Beast, I believe, contesting with Optic. International scrims having to basically fight for real estate. How do you guys think it's going to go down? Any thoughts there and how you guys are going to approach it, your teams?
I mean, looking forward to bodying Alliance and Lightning Rod and whatever random team lands Climatizer, I guess.
Or maybe it's Fnatic that drops Lightning Rod or Northeption that drops. There's a good APAC North team that drops Lightning Rod too, FYI. Watson.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't watch the other regions. But
you're going to body Alliance, though. You guys are hard contesting. You will not drop anywhere else that map.
For scrims, yeah. I mean, we get shot on scrims, I mean, we're going to leave. But if we shot on them in scrims, like, they're going to leave too. So, I mean, that's just how it goes.
I mean, last thing I heard, international scrims were pretty horrible. I mean, I don't know if you guys can Gild, you're the only one who went to the last LAN, so you did the international scrims. Was it even worth it to play in those scrims, or is it just kind of focus on yourself and what you need to do?
Well, we didn't play in international scrims. We didn't scrim at all the whole month before LAN. So if that tells you anything about them being worth it, I mean, we didn't play a single.
I heard it was just such a waste of time. Like,
we didn't play a single international scrim, and I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
what do you guys do to prep?
I mean, we would watch them, but we weren't playing them, and that shit was a waste of time. Like, we were confident in our team fighting. We were confident in our macro. You know, and to be honest, there weren't too many teams in other regions that we were worried about.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Like, that's what we did pretty much for Raleigh. It was like we played 2 scrims and we just bailed. We did not play anymore. And then, like, we're also not really worried about other teams. Not that there's not like solid teams, but we just don't know they even like don't watch them, so we don't know like even who's good. So just going. The best way to do LAN is going to the mentality that everyone sucks, and you're just going to roll over them. Like, just say everyone sucks. Like, that's just the best way to do it.
Dude, I think some of these other regions give each other way too much respect. Like, I watch them play, and they'll like hold a spot next to a team that is just in shambles and not full swing and like wipe them, and it just like in NA, I feel like NA doesn't respect anyone. Like, every team is like, I'm gonna go roll them. They're in a bad spot. We're gonna go fight them and roll them. Like and I truly believe that is what gives us the edge over all these other regions at every LAN. Is, you know, all these North American teams are going in like we're the best. Like, I'm not going in prepping for, you know, APAC region or EU region. Like, I first off think that NA is the best region. So if I'm going to prep against anyone, it's going to be the teams in my region that I know are the best teams. I'm not going to go out of my way to prep against 39 other teams that I don't think are as good. And that's just a mentality thing. I think over prepping or giving teams all this confidence is actually a way to like, I think it could be way more of a negative thing than a positive thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. Like, I forgot what I was gonna say. Go ahead, Watson.
I was gonna say, like, obviously sometimes you got to outsmart your opponent to beat them, but also sometimes just outstupiding them also works like just as good. I feel like NA is like pretty good about that. I'm just like, sometimes you just got to throw down. Like,
Americans are good at outstupiding people.
yeah, yeah, I think that's what ends up happening.
We got
The Europeans are going to have an absolute heyday with this clip tomorrow when they wake up. And gosh, stupid American memes are going to be flying. Watson, what did you just do?
Oh, I remember.
Go ahead.
So Hod used to like use this term all the time when I was still on a team with him. He'd be like, he called it the NA coexist when we were next to teams. Like, you know, in NA, like, if you're playing a spot next to somebody, like, there's a better chance that they're gonna throw their game trying to kill you than them not messing with you at all. If I'm being completely honest.
I'm not
coexist is the idea there. Go ahead, Watson.
I'm not coexisting. I'm gonna try to.
You're the team he's talking about.
Yeah, I'll try to hold 3 buildings. Like, if they're gonna let me do it, I'll do it. You know, like, when Valkyl's next to me, I'm gonna run at them. Like, I'm definitely one of the. Dark is good about that too. Giving people, like, holding as much space as possible. I mean, you got to do that. Other regions, I feel like, are really bad about that.
I feel like like Intel, like Verls and Skittle and Duke back then. I feel like they were the first people to like really how do I put it, like perfect like playing big and like zone and everything, and like holding like 3 buildings, and anybody that comes in their vicinity just instantly aping them and killing them and catching them off guard and just showing them absolutely no respect. I feel like they were like the first people to really start doing that a lot.
I agree with that.
I would definitely say the team that is the coordinated aggressor is going to win that situation like 90% of the time, if not more. I mean, someone really has to throw. If you're going in to a fight knowing that you're full committing to this, and the other team is like, oh, like they're pushing, but and it's not stressed to the point where we have to defend, then you're gonna get a pick. You're gonna get the kills. I mean, it kind of happened to our team today. We just weren't ready for it, and cost us honestly what would have been a big game.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting take, because it's maybe what makes Apex different and unique and fun is in most games the defender has the advantage. Just you can, Gears of War, you can hold right hand and an L trigger, and Halo obviously snipe down. Team that's up in Team Slayer just camps and can hold a setup, and Counter-Strike and Call of Duty, they're search and destroy bomb game modes. The defensive team always has the advantage. In Apex, do you guys feel like the aggressive player that's coming in with momentum and confidence has the advantage every time?
Yeah. 100%.
A lot of the time, yeah.
As long as it's not a stupid push. If it's like an organized push where you're all like, yeah, we're doing this, not just running uphill at a team holding head glitches. I mean, I think like almost every time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like something that we're big about is like when you're like defending a spot, playing aggressive from your spot in like zone, and pushing other teams before they can push you, if that makes any sense. Like holding all of your space and not letting them, get anything is like a big thing.
Yeah, if you're gonna get pushed by a team, you should ask like yourself, like, can I push them first? And if you can't, then you just gotta wait. But like 100%, like if just comes down to who's pushing who. Like, I would definitely rather be on offense like almost all the time, especially in Seer meta where like you can just get, you just trade wall hacks.
Fascinating. Cool. Well, yeah, it's a good discussion. International competition. You guys didn't really have much of an opinion outside of international scrims suck. I don't know anything about international teams. And that was about it. We'll bring some international people on this show here soon. Obviously, we'll wrap up in a second. Speaking of wrapping up, I want to wrap up with just one final segment. Early as hell. I mean, obviously, as educated as you could make them. Predictions on which team globally will win Split 2 playoffs in London. And then you can't say your own team. You're not allowed to say your own team. LAN predictions. I want to start it off because I'm going to join this one. I want to start off with a clip, and I want to start off with a prediction. I think Dark Zero is going to win another LAN championship. I think Zero as an IGL is still so slept on by the world, not by you guys as pros. You guys all know how nasty he is. I think they're going to go in as the bad guys, the villains, given everything that happened. I think he's just going to love that role, and he's going to eat it up. Zainu's built different. I think he's going to show why. And this clip actually shows why. Let's watch.
I'm on Sears again. Watching your switch. They have blues. They have blues. Coming. I'm running in. I'll just have pride in the cross. Batting. One's going to peek. Dead. Shut on! Box down, Zero! Batting! Get that fucking kill! They're just gonna
Go
trade.
top bridge, go top bridge
Yeah.
now!
One, here. What? Punch one guy.
Let's go!
Nice, Zero. Let's fucking go.
Zainu, you are the best player!
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like sometimes I'm that guy, and sometimes I'm just Zerbo. Like sometimes that's. I wish I could have. If I had that passion every single day I played, I would win every day, dude. Zainu definitely has that like passion buff right now.
Having comms like that, all the time in Apex is like really important, but it's also like really hard. Like we're playing like long ass games. Like keeping up that energy is like really hard, but as important as it is.
Yeah, the weights don't help either, especially if you get rolled off the rip. Like you wait like 40 minutes to get into a game. Like it is hard to stay upbeat, especially in match point where the games are like mad long. Like the day can be mad long.
Those comms were, this is my first time competing with this squad that is supposed to be the best team, and I'm going to go all out. That's what those comms were right there. This is my show out performance, #1 overall kill leader. And he showed up.
Fashion buff.
I want to shift the conversation to y'all. Your predictions. So I got a little hack because I had a clip to back it up. You know what I'm saying? But that was that Snip, and I agree. It's first time playing. They're all in. They're giving 180% like anyone else did in that event. Actually, I don't know, not anyone else. It was a regional final. All y'all were giving 180%, and they still won. So to me, they won the event. This event, their first time playing with Zainu. How could you not call them the best team in North America, which is the best region in the world? I think Dark Zero is the best team right now. Your guys' prediction, who do you think's the best? Who do you think's going to win LAN right now? Snip, I'll start with you. What on the line?
I mean, I don't think DZ's the best because XSET's a team. They won Pro League. They got top 3 pretty much every single day. They trolled with Pathfinder, Maggie, Fuse comps today and still got wins and mad points. And I think DZ had more to prove today with a new player than XSET had to prove today in any way whatsoever. And if I was going to pick a favorite going into LAN, it would be them.
You guys can't repeat the same person. You could say if you do feel the same way, but you can't repeat the same teams. I want different teams. Gild?
I'm going to say Alliance. They're looking pretty sturdy right now. I also think it's really hard to predict because I feel like you don't really get a feel for the teams that are going to do good on LAN until you like play that like first group on LAN because it's just so much different than online. Like it really is.
I think Alliance is a good pick. Just a quick +1 to that. No matter how the meta shifts, they're always ready. ALGS is always ready. They're literally always pushing the meta change. They played Newcastle today to put things in perspective and won EMEA. So I think they'll be ahead of the curve with meta changes. And I think Alliance is a good pick as well. I think XS's a great one. Snip3down. Watson?
Well, it's like all the ones I would have picked are already gone. So I'm going to go with Moist, I think, is my prediction.
With zero explanation.
Yep.
I love you, Watson. I love you so much. Yeah, the ones you were going to pick, the 3 of ours. And yeah, good discussion overall. Snip, that I would agree with you. You're right. XSET had nothing to play for today. So it's a little wild and drastic to say that Dark Zero is the best team based on their performance today, where XSET and Optic may have been trying to grief teams or troll a little bit. With that said, I think the reason I said that is they have 2 months now. They got 2 months with this kid Zainu, and they want to prove to the world that they made the right decision. I think they're going to put an insane amount of work. I mean, they not only have a lot to prove because of what's happened the last 2 weeks, but their org shipped them across the world, got them visas, and have been paying for their housing in Austin, Texas. And I've heard all that they do is play Apex. They don't go out. They have not been enjoying Texas barbecue or Perry's. All they do is play Apex Legends. So again, I think Dark Zero is going to be motivated more than any other team to grind. I think XSET is going to be hungry too. They want a championship. It's going to be crazy though. Any final rebuttals to that or final thoughts on this topic?
No. I asked Zero like what he likes like Australia compared to America, and he was like, I don't go outside. I just play Apex. So yeah, pretty much exactly what you said. He's like, I don't go outside, so I have no idea. Like,
you're like honestly casual conversation with him, like, hey, how do you like being in America? Like, what's your favorite fast food chain? I have no idea. I eat WhatsApp.
I feel that.
Uber Eats, I mean.
I feel that. That's literally me.
I'm kind of in the same boat too. I'm pretty shameless about it. I literally sit at home all day and play Apex and order food.
You're gonna say something else though, Gild? Or are you gonna say that?
Oh, that's all I was saying.
You're saying the same thing. Snip, any final takes? Thoughts?
Not really. I mean, I think it's a great discussion. I think you know, I might have to go back and pay a little more attention to some of these other regions. Maybe give them the due that they've earned. Check out some of the teams that place in the top. Just excited. I mean, I think it's good to take, you know, maybe a week off, just kind of gather yourself. I'm doing some stuff for myself, and you know, time to get back with new season, new split, and really just put our heads down and get to work, because you know, this LAN means a lot for me. I haven't been to an Apex LAN since the Poland Invitational in Krakow. So I'm just happy to be back competing on that main stage, get some nice little adrenaline rush.
Wait, this is your first LAN since Krakow?
Yeah, I haven't been, and yeah, that one was that was when I teamed with Frex. That was my last LAN, is when I teamed with Frex on Reciprocity, and my PC crashed before there was a reconnect feature. And so I exited LAN 2 points away from making grand finals because my PC crashed. So that was my last LAN experience. Happy to be back. Better
As a
terms.
timeless.
They replace that one with hopefully a better memory this
Yeah.
time. Gosh, you're taking a little break, which I think you deserve. But yeah, it's been a crazy story for you. Wild story. You went to Halo, you're back. Are you guys gonna be locked in? Like, is Zero locked in, you think, or not that locked in? Snip3down?
What was the question? Sorry, I totally
No, it's all good. I said, you went to Halo, you're coming back. Are you guys gonna be locked in for this? Like Zero locked in, or not the same? You said you're taking a week off.
Bro, well, I fly to LA tomorrow. I'm going to the Lakers game, so I'm treating myself to a little birthday present. And then I fly back Wednesday, and then it's back into the grind, back into the drawing board of what we want to do. If scrims start up, I mean, we'll be there, or we're just going to prep on our own pace. I think, you know, Gild said it right. Like, I'm not going to waste our time doing international scrims if they're a waste of our time and everyone else's time. There's better ways to prep mentally as well. So I think we're just going to play it by ear. But you know, the goal is to win LAN.
I love it. International scrim starting in a couple weeks, so it's going to give everyone time to kind of adjust to the new meta, grind the game, the new rank system. We learned a lot about that today. Onset had an interview with the dev, which was awesome to see. It's going to be an interesting next few weeks, that's for sure. I want to thank these three. They've all been awesome. I know you guys had a long regional final. You guys still jumped on. It was hilarious. A lot of great moments. So thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys. For the very last time, I want to do you dirty by not giving you a final shout outs, final words you want to share. Watson, start with you.
Nope. Shout out Page and Zera. They're awesome.
Shout out Panders and Zera. I love it. What about Furia? A little love for them too.
They're pretty cool.
Gildersons.
Shout out my teammates, of course. Shout out NRG. I guess we're in the same boat.
Shout out Gildersons for having his Jordan performance with his flu game. He was sick for the last 3 days, still sick, still joined this show, and was freaking awesome. And everyone's talking about how handsome he is still. Snip3down.
Yeah, I mean, just FaZe up. Happy we qualified and got the dub. Happy to be going against the best competition. As much as I'm upset, not upset, but as much as I wish both TSM and Energy didn't qual to make our chances of winning LAN better, I'm also happy to be going against the best competition. And I think you just gotta. I'm just excited. I'm very happy to be back.
I love it, man. Yeah, we're happy to have you back. The return of Snip3down his first LAN since Poland, which I didn't even realize was a story after quitting and playing Halo for a few years, making the worst decision of his career. No, I'm just kidding. Quitting and playing Halo for
You're not wrong.
He's
I
back.
gave his ass.
Dude.
This is not the purpose of that joke, to go down a rabbit hole of how bad Halo is. Jesus Christ. Thank you to Snip3down for redeeming the final words with actual final words versus Watson and Gildersons, who just shouted out their teammates and schlepped their orgs. Except I did that for Watson. Thank you, everyone, for watching tonight. Big shot to Snip3down and Gildersons. What a day it was. Regional finals, all 5 regions certainly did not disappoint. Alliance wins in EMEA today, and Dark Zero with Zainu in their debut win in North America, setting us up with TSM, Complexity, FaZe, NRG, so many big names qualifying and making it alongside Luminosity representing Mexico in North America. We hope you guys are enjoying the content. Look, we're going to keep this going. Yes, it's a post show for the ALGS, but we'll still be doing this once a week, probably still Saturday, Sunday. We might do it earlier in the week. So between this, the Apex Experience, the weekly one-on-one podcast, I had one with Hiswattson. I'm trying to get one with Zero, which I think would be insane. Finally have that guy talk and tell a story would be amazing. We hope you guys are enjoying the content. We're trying to bring more content to the Apex scene to help the scene grow, to build superstars and brands out of our players. Because at the end of the day, the ALGS is nothing without the players. We need to build stars just like the NBA did with Jordan in the 90s, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you guys for supporting these players, supporting the ALGS. We hope you enjoyed everything at home. We will catch you throughout the week for more content. Thanks for watching, everybody. And cheers to the next 2 months before the Split 2 playoffs in London. We'll see you there.